Hello again, it's Lock Noob, and after I made my checkers and chess lock, where the driver pins were all shaped like chess pieces, a few people here and there have been asking me, how did I make those custom pins? So I thought I'd do a video on how I approach making custom pins, and I know that there's lots of people out there who do make them, and they will make them all differently and probably better than me, but since I'm the one making the video, I'm going to share how I personally make them. So how do I start? Well, I'll start with some brass rod. You can buy this on places like eBay. This is 3mm in diameter, and I've just cut off a piece with a hacksaw that's around 20mm. Okay. Now, what am I going to make this into? Well, I've got an idea for a pin which I want to make for Pete Restall. If you don't know Pete Restall, go check out his YouTube channel. He's an excellent picker and a nice guy to boot. So I had this idea, instead of a chess piece, I would do a modified spool design in the shape of a well, like a World War II bomb or torpedo, really, whereby I'd have one serration at the top. I'd have a relatively domed top, tapered in a bit like a mushroom spool, and then just to make it look cool, I'm just going to file in some fins at the bottom. You see I have a few different designs here. I only sketch them roughly because I'm not a machine. Naturally they will probably end up looking a little bit different once I've had a go. And what I want to do now is go outside, take off this microphone, just take my iPad, which I record on outside, and record native, and I'll try to demonstrate how I approach pin making using a Dremel, really. Okay, so hopefully I can get this video under 15 minutes. Hope you find it interesting. Sorry about the lack of sound quality and all the rest of it, but it's quite a noisy procedure, and it's going to sound a lot worse if I mic this up. Okay, catch you in a second. Okay, so we're outside now, and you probably hear all sorts of things. There's people practicing drums, there's cars going past, sounds of babies, all sorts of things out here. But nevertheless, what I've got is I've got a Dremel, which I've just chucked up in my tabletop vise. Hopefully I'll get that in a position where it's okay for you to see what's going on and allow me to work. A couple of things. Always wear safety goggles. I know it sounds stupid, but metal filings in the eye are an instant trip to the hospital. And if they're non-magnetic filings, then that just makes it a whole lot worse if it goes in. You'll also see that I've just marked up about 6 mils between 2 points here. I'm not too precious about it, but it's enough to just chuck up in the Dremel. So let me just thin that down a little bit. And I know some people can get away with putting less in than that, but I like to have quite a lot in that Dremel because you're putting a lot of extra torque on this piece of brass. So again, not too precious about it. 6 or 7 mils is about maximum for a driver pin though. Any more than that is just too much. So nice and tight in there. How do I shape it? Well, I shape it using two things really. I use a sanding disc like this to take off the major burrs. Then I use a diamond disc for the main shaping. Now I'll probably cut out after a while because it will get a little bit dull watching this slowly being whittled down to shape. I also use a Stanley knife, a really nice high carbon blade to add serrations. So let's have a go at this. It gets quite noisy, so let's see how we can cope with it. So Okay, so we've got our basic shape there. So I'm just going to put some 240 grit paper on one of these Dremel, well, how we call that, a little bit of metal, and start to just polish that edge up. Okay, here we go. Okay, so overall, not too bad. Not too bad. I think it needs a bit of fine polishing, but we've got the rough shape, and I can do that using some sandpaper and do some manual polishing. And I also need to file some fins in here. Also want to add a serration at the top of this pin, so we will do that with, and very carefully so you don't shatter the blade, the Stanley knife blade. And I don't know whether you can see there, but we've got a very fine serration around the top. Again, I'll come back to that later. Just make sure and get my eye a bit closer to it. Not too bad. And let's cut this off. Okay, and here is pretty much the finished product. Just had some 1000 grit sandpaper around it, and hopefully you can see that it's got that sort of bomb shape that I wanted. To file some fins in the base. And there you go. So might not be the finest pin I've ever made, but I think that it will do considering the short amount of time I have in my life at the moment to be doing this kind of stuff. So there we go. That should be an exciting little driver pin. Should pick like a mushroom pin, I believe, to put into Pete Restall's community challenge locks that he wants to do. Okay, I hope you found that interesting. Have a go at making your own pins. You can chuck up large driver pins or key pins into a Dremel, I believe. I've never given that a go, so I've always been using some 3mm brass bar. But so there we go. So we've gone from that to this. Cool. I'll see you next time.